Now I want to go back to our frame class, and I'm just going to walk through it from the top. By this point, we should have our user interface pretty well defined. Upper scoring categories over on this side, lower over on that side. These are all toggle buttons except for the roll button. So that's toggle, that's toggle. I've also added a new game button down here at the bottom. So you might add that when you have a chance to the user interface. You don't want to put it anywhere up here because people might click on it while they're playing, and then their game's done, they might get cranky. So put it out of the way where they might not accidentally click on it. Okay, so we're starting here at the top, and I'm going to show you what we need to add. This was there before. Here's our UI states. We've already done that. Here, this might be new in your version of Yahtzee, is you want a constant that represents each of the lower scoring categories on the page. So 3 of a kind is going to have a value of 0, 4 of a kind 1. They just need to be unique. So 1 for each category. Then next, when the frame gets created, we have a lot to do. First, we created our set of dice. That was there before. Now we have something called a roll number, but we're not going to have to use that anymore. So what I'd like you to do is get rid of the roll number. Next, we created our whole button array, and here's our whole buttons. Yeah, we already did that. That should be done. Here, these are our upper scoring categories, the toggle buttons. And what you want to do is set each of the toggle buttons into a slot on the array. Now you need to note that this array is 1 relative. Typically in programming, arrays are 0 relative. But since we're saying, it would be weird to say aces are 0, 1s or 2s are 1, 3s are 2. You know, that's kind of clunky. So for our upper scoring categories, I'm just going to ignore the first one and ask for 1 more. So instead of being numbered from 0 to 5, it gets numbered from 1 to 6, where we ignore the first element. If that's new to you, you're going to have to add that button array down here to the bottom. So this is what the bottom looks like. You have a set of toggle buttons that are your whole buttons, another set of toggle buttons that are your upper score category buttons, another set of toggles that are your lower scores, and then you have 2 arrays of JText fields for each of this, where you're going to write the score out to for each of the categories. So those are new. Our hold array is still there. The dice is still there. The roll num is gone. Current UI state is still there. And then we add this new one, the game model, the one we just created. Okay? So go back up to the top. So all we're doing is attaching these to the button arrays for the upper score categories. We also want to treat the text boxes in an array as well. So we do the exact same thing, but we have another array called upper score text box array. Has the same structure, and we passed, instead of the buttons, we passed in the text fields. Okay, here's the lower scoring category toggle buttons. And notice we use our constants. So you use the constants, kind of makes sense that way. And then a text box array of all of those as well. So these are the buttons, these are the text boxes. The hold array we already had. And here's where we initialize the game model. So we call the constructor for the game model, and we store that game model in our JFrame. So that's new. These might be new, where you say manage UI state. So first you reset the game, and then you go to before the first roll. And that will set all the buttons that are supposed to be enabled, or disabled, whatever. Here we are in manage UI state. Reset game I haven't really filled in yet. The only one we've really done is before the first roll and a little bit of before the second roll. So here we enable the roll button. We clear and disable the hold buttons and then clear the hold array itself. And we're good. If you get a state that you're not anticipating, then you need to tell the user something bad happened, and we'd stop the game at that point. Here are some new functions: clear and disable the hold buttons. I guess these aren't new. We had these before. So these, I think, are already there. Now, there's a big change here in our roll button. This is all the same as we had it, but again, we got rid of the roll number, so delete that. And then we use the roll number down here to figure out what our next state is. I also removed that. So the only thing should happen afterwards is this switch statement. So get rid of that reference to roll number and also those. And then that's it for today, what you need to do. Now, our test that we're going to show you how to do one of these is we're going to work on 3 of a kind. So next time we meet, I'm going to go over the code in here, I'll uncomment it out, and we'll see what the structure is. We'll also go to the game model, and is 3 of a kind is another one that we'll take another look at, or take a look at, to see how to at least score and categorize the 3 of a kind in the game. And then we can use that as a model for the rest of the scoring categories.